Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Again, welcome to SJREI. This is your August meeting, so we welcome you. Hopefully you had a good summer, and if you have any vacation plans in the near future, you get those in before we get shut down for COVID again. Yes, so SJREI, where the deals happen. As you know, we are here to provide education, and we encourage you to get into deals, but we encourage you to do all of your background and research on those deals so that you understand the risks that you're getting into. Our mission is to provide education and to enable you to make wise decisions that are profitable. As has been said many times, SJREI is where the deals happen. Over 78% of our regular attendees have done business together, which means you're in the place where the deals happen. And speaking of deals, I wanted to share with you, we have this beautiful, not so beautiful, but beautiful when it comes to the numbers, duplex. This particular property is located in Crockett. It is a duplex that has got two tenants in it, upper duplex, upper unit, lower unit. And the upper unit is currently rented for $1,600. Market rent in the area is $2,800. Lower unit is $1,100. But market rent is $1,800. So there's definitely room to make some improvements financially. In addition, there is an in-laws unit in the back that can be turned into a legal third unit. We're wholesaling this out to you for the low price of $550,000, which you know here in the Bay Area is very low. ARV is about 8.25. And that is the view from the property. So it does have views of the Carquinez Strait. It's nicely elevated, beautiful wood floors. The inside actually looks better than the outside. So if you're looking for a cash flow property, this might be something of interest, and we encourage you to reach out to us. In addition, I have a property that's not as nice looking. This particular property looks a lot more dilapidated than it really is. It is a house that found me. When I am out doing my job site visits, I have a sign on my car. A gentleman came following me, and he's like, "I'm not stalking you. I'm not stalking you, I promise." And we were able to purchase this property for $285,000. It'll take about $200,000 to bring it up to par, and we'll sell it for about $750,000. I am looking for some joint venture financial partners. So if something like that is of interest to you, let me know. The inside does have some nice features. It will need to be updated, and that's why we are doing the $200,000 for the repairs. Yeah, so support at SJREI is how you'd find information on those. And it's never a dull moment with me around. We decided to have a rehab boot camp, and I just wanted to share some of the pictures and with you. What we did is we set up the classroom inside one of our rehabs that we have going on in Saratoga. You can see in this picture that we're in the family room. You've got the wires hanging from the ceiling. That's our rough-in electrical. And we were working with the students, teaching them how to do estimates for rehabs so that when they go out on buy calls, they've got a good idea of what it is that they're purchasing, and they can make better negotiations. Here you can see they're working hard, they're measuring, trying to get things put together on their cost sheet so that they know how much everything is going to cost. And then we always finish it with a party. This is some of the crew that works on my rehab. So all the students got to meet the crew and talk to them. It was a great opportunity for everybody to enjoy some carne asada and some what's the pepper serrano? Peppers and beans and rice. It was a good time. We went to a couple warehouses. We got to see how a lot of the manufacturing in the Bay Area is being done without people. They're using robots to build cabinets and reducing the cost of labor. It was pretty interesting to see how that worked. And then we got to look at all the different cabinet types that were there. And we had our little road trip in our van, so it was a lot of fun. We will be hosting another boot camp in January. If doing rehabs is something that you have interest in, now really is the right time to get into that. And so if you do have interest in doing rehabs and you want to learn how we can teach you to do that, hit up support at SJREI. We have room for 2 more students, but then after that, the mentorship is closed. So if you do have interest, make sure and hit us up because we're going into prime time as far as our buying. So, and Joe, are you ready?
Yes.
There he is.
Yes,
All right. Without further ado, Joe McCall, coming to us from the Midwest. He has honored us by staying up late. He is an investor, author, and a good friend. I've known him for probably almost 8 of those 10 years. And the one thing about Joe is that he understands things. He's able to take it in, internalize it, and then bring it back out in a very simple, easy process. And the joke is Joe golfing again? Because he has a team that runs the deal side of his business and allows him to have the lifestyle he's looking for. He also hosts the Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. If you haven't followed him or started listening to that, I would highly encourage you to do that. So, Joe, welcome to the stage of SJREI.
Hey, Lori, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks. I'm doing really good. Appreciate it. I was
Yes.
just looking at Redfin here, doing a little research on the San Jose housing market. The median home price in San Jose is 1.3 million. Okay.
Yes.
St. Louis, it's 275,000, maybe approaching 300.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. For the same brick and mortar, for the same roof and bedrooms and kitchens. And yes, I know.
It's insane. But I'm very familiar with California. I was born in LA, was raised in San Diego. I've lived in Bakersfield and I've lived in the Bay Area. I lived in Antioch for almost a year.
There you go.
And we used to go to Half Moon Bay all the time. Loved it. And would of course drive through San Jose to do all the sightseeing and the what's that Redwoods State Park that's by there? The Big Basin or something like that?
Yep. Big Basin, and Boulder Creek is right near Big Basin. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I love me some California. My mom still lives there. I fly out there all the time.
Awesome.
So I think I can count myself as a California boy, even though in high school I moved from San Diego to Des Moines, Iowa. Why? It was my parents split up. I went with my dad, but anyway, yeah, I'm glad to be here. And
yes,
I will say this: what I'm going to be talking about is if I was living in California again today, this is the same exact strategy I would be doing in California, and
awesome.
I would also be doing it in other markets. So I wouldn't.
So Joe, I just want to make sure that our listeners understand, because the first objection they're going to say is seller financing doesn't work in California. And I'm here to tell you, just in this year alone, I've purchased 6 properties seller finance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you know what I tell people when they say that it doesn't work? I said, yeah, you know what? You're right. It doesn't.
I know, right?
It doesn't. You're right. You're right. It doesn't. Just
work for me.
Just leave me. I'll do all the deals myself. I'll do them. Don't worry about it. Save yourself the stress and the hassle. You're right. It doesn't work. And you just can't argue with that. So like, I believe that this works in any market, any strategy, lease options, owner financing, cash deals. I mean, you just showed two great deals,
Yes.
right? And how many times have you heard, Lori, that there are no deals in California? All you need to do is stick a sign in the yard. All you need to do is stick a sign in the yard, and it'll sell above asking price, multiple offers.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, I'm looking right now on Redfin. I go to Redfin, and I look for houses under $2 million that have been on the market over 60 days in the San Jose and Bay Area, and they're not new construction. Guess how many homes I see right here that have been on the market in the Bay? Now, this is a wider Bay Area. Let me maybe zoom in a little bit to slim it down. In the area that I'm looking, and it's hard for me to show you. Oops, let me zoom out one more time here. It's hard for me to show you.
Speaking of that, let me stop sharing so that you can share your screen. Yeah.
All right, I'll share mine here. There are
like 50, 100.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
There are 465 homes in this area right here. Wow. Now I'm including Stockton and Modesto.
Yeah.
I mean, you would still do a deal out in Stockton or Modesto if it's going to make
100%.
50 grand, wouldn't you?
100%.
All right. There's 465 homes right now that are under $2 million. They're houses on Redfin or on the market. It's the same thing. Over 60 days. And these are not new construction. These are homes that are built before 2015. Now, again, if you could stick a sign in the yard and it sells like that overnight, multiple offers above asking price, why are there still hundreds of houses still on the market like this? They're just overpriced, right?
That's right.
And and what if you went and contacted one of these homes and said, you know what? I don't know if this will work for you, but what if I could get you something close to your price of $699, $900, wherever this house is? You wouldn't consider maybe something creative like a lease option or owner finance, would you? And you're going to be shocked at how many sellers will say yes, because put yourself in their perspective. They're looking at these deals. They're looking at their house. You know, they're hearing from the news and they're seeing their neighbors' houses sell really quickly. And it's been 95 days and their house hasn't sold yet. And they're thinking, what's going on? Why hasn't my house sold? It's been 3 months. I thought things sold like that. And so just sometimes you got to give sellers time to cook. And when you give the sellers time to cook, they're going to become more motivated. And here's the bottom line truth. In every market, no matter if it's hot, warm, or cold, there will always be 5 to 10% of the sellers that want to sell that will be motivated. They're going to have something outside control, like forcing them to want to sell. Maybe it's a death in the family, a divorce, a job loss. They're just tired landlords. They want to get rid of their tenants. They're a hoard. Their mom's a hoarder. Their dad was a hoarder. The property has termites, it has foundation problems, mold, fire damage. Like that stuff happens, whether it's a hot or a cold market, right?
I think you just hit all the calls that we get every day. Those are the people who can't sell.
Right. That's the end of the webinar. There you go.
There you go.
So you're right. It doesn't work.
Yep.
You know, Lori, one time in Denver's a hot, expensive market, but I kid you not, I had 2 students that called me on the same day, within 1 day of each other. One of the students complained, I'm getting tons of sellers, but there are no buyers. This doesn't work. The other student said, I got tons of buyers, but I can't find any sellers. This strategy doesn't work. They both complained about the opposite thing.
Yeah.
And I put them together. I said, you guys need to talk, because obviously you guys can partner on some deals, which is so cool. What I like about seeing what you're doing with your REIA, with your real estate club, it's like you guys are actually doing deals and you're bringing great deals to people and you're showing them. And it's like, hey, listen, it does work. You just got to believe that it does. You got to hang out with the right people and it'll come. I had a student, let me say one more story. Sorry.
No,
I had a student.
All the stories you want, go for it.
This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I had a student, even back then, everybody thinks the market's hot. People were still complaining that it was hot back 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And this student was doing what I'm going to be talking about with lease options. And she was doing a bunch of marketing, found through the marketing, was just talking to everybody she could, found a realtor that said, you know what? No, this house, they probably wouldn't do a lease option, but give me your name and number. I think I might know somebody else that would. And so she found another seller that was open to some kind of creative financing, but she was new. She didn't know what to do. And, she's in an expensive market. San Jose is unique, right? The South Bay area. So what did she do? She went to a local real estate club, and I don't know which one it was, but somewhere in the South Bay area, found another investor that partnered with her on this deal. This is why local investment clubs like yours are so important, because you can find other people to partner with. And this was an expensive house. It was like a $1.5 million house. And that was like, for her, she felt like that was way out of her league. It didn't need much rehab, but she found somebody that could partner with her on the deal, and made a lot of money. I don't remember all the details of the deal, but just goes to show you how important networking is. Networking with other people that do believe you can do deals in this market, and then have experience, know the local area. So whenever I do deals, and I do deals all over the country, I always find local people to partner with. Anyway.
That's good.
All right. That's good. All right. Do you want me to get started now?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay.
It's you.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen here, and then I'm going to turn my webcam off because I'm going to stand up and walk around. And let me just make sure you can see it here. All right. Can you see my screen?
We can see you.
All right. I'm going to turn my webcam off. All right. So I'm going to talk about, let me fix my microphone here. I believe this is one of the easiest and fastest ways to do deals. No matter how much cash or experience you have, no matter where you live, even if you live in California in a really hot market. All right. There we go. So I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming, y'all. Even though I'm from California, I lived in the Midwest. I caught the y'all bug, and I can't stop saying it. But I'm going to show you guys a new way to do deals that completely changed my life years ago. And I'm going to show you how you could even, if you wanted to, if you really did, how you could do your first deal, your first lease option deal in the next 30 to 45 days in California or in any other virtual market in the United States. And here's the cool thing, guys. You have the entire United States in your backyard. It doesn't matter where you live. I have students in New York, in Texas, and Minnesota. I have students in other countries that are doing these deals in the United States. So you can choose to do them in your backyard if you want, or you can do them in Idaho. You can do them in Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma. I have students that are doing deals from California, in Oklahoma and Texas and different markets across the country. So again, turn off the distractions, guys. Focus, pay attention, grab a pen and paper. I'm going to be about an hour long. I'm going to teach you a lot of stuff. And so this is going to be good. I want to jump right in. Now, imagine a business where you didn't have to worry about what direction the market was heading, north, south, hot or cold. You didn't have to worry about competition. You didn't have to worry about spending a ton of money on marketing. You didn't have to worry about borrowing money to buy deals. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you didn't have to if you didn't need to, right? You don't need a buyer's list. You don't need a realtor's license. And I understand a little bit California law. And now I recommend you get your license, but you do not need a real estate license to do lease option deals. Okay. It helps. I think you should. I don't know what Lori's opinion on this is, but you can do these kinds of deals.
I think it's pretty neutral, Joe.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have it for sure. It gives you access to data that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get. And so I think it's either way is good. There's no harm in it. Yeah,
that's a good way to say it. And that's the way I say it too. In fact, one of the guys who taught me lease options is from the California market. It's from San Diego. One of my first coaches. And you don't have to worry about creating a second full-time job. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to lose your nights and weekends either. That's not what we're here for. But Joe, everybody says, are you still doing deals today? Yes, I am. But let me say this first. I'm going to give you a lot of testimonials. I'm going to show you some students that are working with me and the numbers, my numbers. I just want you to all know that these numbers are real. They're not made up. But I want you to know this too, that our results are not typical. Most people don't make any money in this business. It's sad. These students and the success stories that I'm going to show you are some of my best, most active students. But honestly, most people fail in any kind of work from home business opportunity. That's just the way it is. So I'm still actively doing deals in Missouri, Alabama, Georgia, Colorado, Oregon, Texas, North Carolina, et cetera. I've done deals in over 10 different states while traveling. I'm going to talk about this later. And I've done deals from 4 different countries. I have 4 kids who've taken our family to Europe several times, done deals from Europe. This is just a recent screenshot from my FreedomSoft account. We're getting some incredible response rates to our marketing. And just a few weeks ago, my sons did a couple vacant land deals. So we're working on that. Now, more importantly, though, I mean, I feel like I could show you all the deals we're doing, but yeah, so what, right? I'm more impressed and proud of my clients, my students from all over the world that are doing deals what I teach, even in this crazy market. Robert just did a lease option deal. He's got a down payment of $8,000. He's getting cash flow of $250 a month, right? Not too bad, not too shabby. Recently in our Facebook group, Steve got 5 deals under contract. Dave and Gay closed a deal. They have 4 in closing, several under contract. Jeff has 2 in closing. Chris just posted that Chris is a beast. He's just doing deals left and right. He got a check and a new contract in the same day this week, starting to build consistency in his results. All right. Carlos did a deal, made $6,200. Right after COVID started, one of my students, Roland, did a deal, made $5,000. One of my other students, during COVID, during the shutdown, still finding tons of tenant buyers for her lease option deals. And Kay, one of my students, she flipped a lease. This is crazy. Using my course, she found a seller that was willing to do to have her help find a tenant. She got the property under what's called an option to lease and flipped the lease and made just a quick $975 during the shutdown. So this, you can be certainly doing deals. So I just want to suggest or propose to you that if you want to learn the easy way to get more offers accepted, do more deals, make more money using simple lease options, even in a really hot, expensive market like California, you're in the right place. So my goals for the webinar is this. I'm going to show you how everyone here can do their first creative deal in any market. I'm going to give you a strategy where you're not going to be lowballing sellers trying to get properties at pennies on the dollar. I'm going to show you how to make fair offers where the sellers and the buyers all win. And I'm going to show you how you can give sellers almost any price they want, which is crazy to think about, but you can do that with creative financing deals. And the cool thing about lease options is they allow you to do, there's 3 profit centers. There's cash now, cash flow, and cash later. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you how to get homes where you don't have to worry about vacancies. The tenants take care of all the maintenance and repairs. You don't have to go out and get a bank loan, use private money, hard money, take over anybody's mortgage payments. You don't have to do owner financing, which if you know how to do it, it's awesome. But sometimes it can get a little confusing. I'm going to show you all the major steps. All right. I'm going to give you some case studies on this webinar. I'm going to show you somebody who didn't have any money for marketing, did deals. I'm going to show you somebody else who couldn't get a mortgage to buy their own house. This is one of my favorite strategies, using lease options to buy your own house. And one of the coaches that got me started in this business, he taught me this about, it's just crazy. You can get really, really nice houses. And I would argue on the higher end expensive homes, it's easier actually to do lease options on the higher expensive homes for lease options, right? So I have a student right now, where is she? She's in Atlanta somewhere. She's living in a mansion for free as a lease option. Basically, it's so big, it's too big for her. So she does Airbnb on half of the mansion while she lives in the other half. Yeah, it's just crazy. She even included in the lease option agreement the Land Rover that the seller had, because the seller was moving to Europe and couldn't take the car that they just bought a few months earlier with him. So she negotiated a brand new, a mansion and a brand new Land Rover in her lease option contract. All right. Anyway. And so I'm going to show you several students that were also in an expensive competitive market, did deals virtually. And I'm going to show you a stay-at-home mom that was in a small market and couldn't even talk to sellers, even if she wanted to, and was able to do lease option deals. Now, if you stick around until the end, I got to give you a little bribe because I want you to stick around to the end of this webinar. And if you do, I'm going to give you my book. You can't buy it on Amazon. It's called Simple Lease Options, the easiest and fastest way to do more deals in any market. And you're going to get it for free if you stick around to the end. I'm going to show you at the end how to get it. Now, why do you think I'm doing this webinar? Well, I love doing things like this. Ross invested in my course, gave him his money back. Robert got his money back. Lynn I gave her investment back. Mike got his money back. Yusef got his investment back. And I do this all the time. They all got their investment in my course back just by completing it. And I'm going to talk about what on earth. I'll explain more later. Okay. So just stay tuned. Now, why is this stuff so important and relevant to us right now? We're in a hot seller's market right now. Okay. But the market will soon be changing. It has to. We cannot stay in a seller's market forever. And if all you are doing is making lowball cash offers to sellers and you don't have much room to negotiate, you're going to be in trouble because marketing costs are rising. It's getting more expensive to find deals. A lot of wholesalers are on the verge of going out of business. I see this all the time. It's getting harder and harder to find good cash flow deals, except for Lori, who finds these amazing deals that she shows all you guys. But like, especially in California, how hard is it to find good cash flowing deals? But our students are excited about this market, the direction that it's going, and there's a lot of opportunities coming our way. So bottom line, the traditional old way of wholesaling, doing deals just doesn't work that well anymore. Okay. And once you learn how to do creative deals like lease options, you're never going to have to worry about money again. That's a bold promise, but I'm willing to stand behind it. So who's this webinar for and who is it not for? Well, this is for you. If you're just starting out, you wanting to work from home without having to call or talk to anyone. This is for you if you're looking for a framework to help you use automation instead of doing everything yourself. And it's for you if you've already maybe done some investing and you're ready to just ramp up your volume and do more deals. Okay. So if you're new to this business and you want to learn how to make fast cash and cash flow, this is for you. If you've been trying to do wholesaling, maybe you're struggling with all the competition out there. You're frustrated with getting too many of your offers rejected. If you're tired of spending thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing and throwing away all the leads that don't have any equity and really only having one offer to give to sellers and getting so many offers rejected, you're in the right place. If you want to do deals without having to feel like, you got to negotiate like a professional hardcore salesman, trying to get properties at 60, 70, 80 cents on the dollar, but you just want an easy way to give sellers whatever price they want, then you're in the right place, right? And if you want cash flow without the typical landlord headaches, without managing, cheap rental properties, dealing with repairs, maintenance, vacancies, bad tenants, this is one of the best ways to get cash flow with single family homes. If you're in a small market or a large, expensive, competitive market, and you think it's too hard to do deals where you live, this webinar is for you. Now, who is this webinar not for? It's not for people who don't want to work. It's not for people who are just looking for get rich quick schemes. There is no do nothing, money will fall from the sky and you'll get rich quick magic button from your parents' basement. There's not. I'm not going to give you some gimmick. This is a real skill set that will make your life better and help you make a lot of money. This is not for people who are maybe afraid to take massive, decisive action. It's not for people who aren't willing to invest in themselves. And it's not for people who blame others for their problems, don't take accountability for their actions, okay? And so this is my huge disclaimer, and I want you to pay attention because this is really, really important. I've been a victim of gurus who take all your money, who promise that everything's going to be super easy, you're going to make millions of dollars, but we're smarter than that, right? And there's not going to be any silly manipulation tricks here. You've got to be willing to work hard, practice, and master these skills, okay? And I'm going to show you some big numbers from me, from my students. They're real numbers, but our results aren't by any means typical. I don't have any influence over your actions or what you're going to do with what you learn. Your results are entirely up to you. And honestly, most people don't make any money in this business. Most people fail. So I'm not promising that you're going to get rich with my course. And in fact, if you're like most people, you probably won't. That's just the sad truth. Most people who buy real estate education courses or go to workshops, watch videos on YouTube, listen to a bunch of boot camps, you spend hours and hours in the Facebook groups or the big forums online or whatever. They don't do anything that they're learning. They don't implement it. Okay. So most people don't make money in this business. It's just the sad truth. You can give them the golden keys of the kingdom. You can teach them everything they need to do, but for some reason, people just don't do it. That's just the way it is. All right. Now, you and I both know that making money is never easy. In my experience, the thing that I have found to be the easiest and fastest way for me to make money is by doing lease option deals. Cool. So who's this guy, Joe? This is me, two of my daughters. That's in Oceanside, actually, with two of my girls. And I used to travel a lot and speak. Don't do that much anymore. I'd much rather just be on my front deck drinking a coffee. These are my four kids when they were younger. We've adopted all four kids, which is a crazy long story. And I'll be glad to tell you all about it sometime. This was us recently in our backyard. Yeah, we have snow in St. Louis. Well, you guys got snow in California. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's our backyard. When I got into this business, I wanted something that would produce immediate and consistent cash flow. I knew I wanted something that was easy to start up and run, could be run from home with very little overhead, could help people benefit the community, could help me buy the home of my dreams, which it did, and allow me, most importantly, to spend more time with my family. But I made a ton of mistakes. And back when I figured this out, I was working 60 plus hours a week in my corporate job, traveling a lot. I was gone from home. In fact, that's why I was in Bakersfield. I was working for a big engineering company building a power plant out there. And I can see why they call it the armpit of California. It was hot and stinky. And I was there, supposed to be there for just a couple of weeks. It turns into 3 months. And then because of that, though, we got to go down to Antioch and build a big, huge power plant out there. But man, I was traveling a lot. It wasn't any fun. And my wife and I wanted to have kids. It wasn't going well. So, but back after California, moved back to Kansas City, then St. Louis, I started buying a bunch of homes, and I bought them all the wrong ways. I was over leveraged. I was in way too much debt. I borrowed too much private money. I paid way too much for the houses. And then the market started crashing. We were hemorrhaging cash, facing foreclosures, getting the utilities turned off, getting our credit cards and debit cards declined. It was frustrating. It was horrible. I tried everything. I bought a ton of courses, but nothing was working for me. So I started wholesaling. That's the strategy where you make low ball offers and you get, you flip properties. And we're still doing wholesaling today. So when you may think I'm knocking wholesaling, but we still do these wholesaling and lease option deals today. But at the time I was doing what most people did. I was sending out a lot of direct mail and postcards to the same sellers that everyone else was sending them to. But I was horrible at talking to sellers, and I didn't like having to negotiate huge discounts over the phone. And I couldn't go see the houses because I was working full time, right? And I had kids at home. I couldn't go see the houses. I couldn't drive around, especially you guys in California. It takes an hour to drive a couple blocks. I feel really sorry for you guys with your traffic. Now, I hope you aren't offended with me saying that, but I know what it's like there, and it's crazy. God bless you all. But can you imagine trying to go drive a couple miles, in an hour, to go look at one house and to spend an hour with the seller only to have them say, "No, I'm not interested," and you have to drive another hour back in traffic. So yeah, for me, I said, that's not going to work. We all have a choice to make though, right? I kept trying and failing for 3 years straight, trying to figure out, how do I make fast cash, right? I finally found a mentor. I figured out what works, what doesn't. I found people that were doing deals in Atlanta from the beach in Florida. I found a guy who was doing lease option deals in Chicago from the country of India. And so I had a choice, right? I could make a change, or I could continue down the same old path of trying to do traditional wholesaling while working a full-time job. But I found something that changed my life forever. I discovered that you can actually flip houses without spending any of my own money on marketing or buying the house either. I didn't have to go into debt. I didn't have to borrow any money. I didn't have to take over any mortgages. I could control these properties without owning them. And I could use lease options for fast cash strategies and for cash flow strategies. I could get properties with fast cash now and cash flow over the life of the deal. And I found that these deals were actually way easier to do than traditional wholesaling deals. And there's one simple reason why. When you make a cash offer, you have only one thing you can negotiate, and that's the cash price of the deal. When I do a lease option or creative financing deal, I can negotiate 5 different things. I can negotiate the price, the down payment, the terms, the payment, the monthly payment, any rent credits, maybe some work for equity credits. I can delay when the payments start. I can have them start small and then grow over time. So when you can find a seller who's motivated and is willing to do a creative deal, you can negotiate a lot more things in price. In fact, you can give them whatever price they want as long as you're willing to wait for it, which is why I believe it's easier to do creative financing like lease options and owner financing than traditional wholesaling deals, especially in California. Okay. All right. My slides, here we go. They froze. So I didn't have to spend any money on marketing either. I'm going to show you what I do now. I could get more leads than I could handle for free. I could do these deals over the phone without seeing the houses. I didn't have to negotiate with sellers. And I could do deals from anywhere in the world. And I did. Within 3 months of flipping these lease options and just focusing on that, I was making more money doing that part-time than I was in my full-time job. And I was working on a power plant in St. Louis. And my last day on the job site, the assistant at the job site trailer made me some cupcakes. And can you guess which one is me? This is the last day of my job. Can you guess which cupcake is me? It's the one with the smiley face. I love that picture. And so then we started doing deals while traveling around the world, because I thought, this is what we said all along. We homeschool our kids, not because we're anti-public schools. We're just so pro homeschool, especially in this crazy pandemic that we're going through now. But I wanted to travel and do deals we're from anywhere in the world. So we started traveling with our 4 kids. We went to Prague for 2.5 months. A couple of years later, we bought this big beast, it's trailer. And because I had 4 kids and a dog, we couldn't we couldn't get a big motorhome. So we got this beast with a pull behind camper. And we spent 3 months traveling across the western half of the United States, had an absolute blast doing deals while traveling. And then a few years ago, we went back to Europe again for 3 months doing, we were in Prague and we traveled a lot around doing deals while we were there. So, maybe if you've been struggling in real estate, maybe it's not your fault. There's a reason. You don't be hard on yourself. You weren't taught this stuff. It's not common knowledge. You've got to seek it out, which is what you have done here today. And I think you're going to be glad that you did. Okay. So this solution is literally worth hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. All right. Now, what is a lease option? You might be saying, great question. Glad you asked, right? It's where you lease a property for a period of time with the option to buy it in the future at a certain predetermined price. This works in any market, an expensive market or a cheap market. Okay. You just ask the seller, hey, listen, if I can get you that price that you want, could I maybe lease it for a year or so first? And that's it. That's a lease option. You lease a property for a couple, 3, 4, 5 years with the option to buy it in the future. You have the option to buy it. You don't have to, just the option, but the seller has the obligation to sell to you. And I love the lease options because of what Nelson Rockefeller once said. He said, the secret to success is to own nothing but control everything. And that's what lease options do. It's the ultimate strategy that allows you to own nothing and control everything. So that removes a lot of the risk in these deals. Now, when I do lease options, I want to make sure everybody's set up to win. Now, I want the seller to win. I want the tenant buyers to win, and I want to win myself. I've heard some gurus say, like, for example, I hope the tenant buyer doesn't buy the house so then I can get somebody else in the house and make more money on the deal. No, we don't want that. We want to set up where, excuse me, I got the hiccups, where the sellers win and the tenant buyers win. Now, why would a seller or a tenant buyer want to do a lease option, you might say, right? All they need to do is stick a sign in the yard and it'll sell in days. Well, I just showed you before we started here how there was, I don't remember what it was, 300, 400, 500 properties that have been on the market over 60 days in one of the hottest markets in the country, San Jose, in the Bay Area. So anyway, let's say a seller wants to sell their house, but can't, or they don't want to sell it for the price they need to. So they're just going to rent it out. Well, with a lease option, they don't have to deal with the typical landlord headaches. They're going to get someone in the house who wants to buy it and take care of all the maintenance and repairs. And they can still sell the deal even if they don't have enough equity. They don't have to worry about 2 mortgage payments, and they don't have to pay any realtor commissions if they want to do a lease option with you, typically. Now, why would a tenant buyer want to do a lease option, right? It's easy to get mortgages today. Well, we only work with what I call penalty box buyers. These are people who have good reasons for bad credit, and then maybe they're self-employed. Maybe they had a failed business 5 years ago and the credit is wrecked because of that. And they only need a couple, 3 years to be distance to get distance from that. Well, with a lease option, they also get to try out a house before they buy it. Maybe they can get some monthly rent credits or reduce the price of the home. Sometimes they can actually get a sweat equity or work for equity. They get to lock in a price. And this is important to understand too, even in California. There are creative ways that I teach where you can maybe not necessarily lock in a certain price, but you can still set it up where it's fair to the seller and to the buyer, where, you could maybe share the equity. So if the house does appreciate 20% in the next three years, the seller can get some of that appreciation and the tenant buyer can get some of that appreciation. Or you can just lock in a price. It gives tenant buyers time to rebuild their credit so they can get a great mortgage. And maybe they're just moving into the area and they don't want to rent for 6 months and then move again when they are ready to buy a mortgage or to get a mortgage and buy a house. Okay. Now, why would an investor want to do lease options? We've been talking about this. Immediate and consistent cash flow, easy to start, low overhead, very little competition. This helps people, benefits the community. It can be run virtually from anywhere in the world, and it allows you to spend more time with your family. Okay. Now, remember I talked about there's 2 strategies in lease options. There's wholesaling lease options. That's your fast cash strategy. And then there's sandwich lease options, which is your cash flow strategy. Now, let me just talk real quick about this fast cash strategy I call wholesaling lease options, because this is what allowed me to quit my job 11, 12 years ago. Once you get one of these properties under contract with the seller to lease option it, Instead of selling or assigning your contract to an investor, you just assign the contract to a tenant buyer. Your average profits on a wholesaling lease option deal are going to be 3 to 10 grand in the Midwest. In California, you should be making an average profit of 10 to 20 grand, where you get a property under a lease option and you just sell or assign the contract to a tenant buyer. Okay. This is an example deal of what I'm talking about in St. Louis. This was a nice suburban home in the St. Louis area. Seller had it listed as a for sale by owner. They moved out of town. They had 2 payments. They wanted $299 for this house. The market value at the time was about 300 grand. So they wanted close to what it was worth. The market rents are about 1,800 a month for this house. So I offered the seller $290 because remember they owed, well, I didn't say that, but they owed about $290 on the property. And I offered them $1,800 a month in rent for 2 years. Now you think, how could you do that? That's like what it's worth, right? And there's no cash flow in that. Well, you're right. But I turned around and I advertised the property for 300 grand, 1,800 a month in rent for 2 years. And how did I come up with that 300,000 number there? Look at the math there. 290 plus 10, and that was my assignment fee, was $300,000. So I found a great tenant buyer, and then I assigned my contract to that tenant buyer for 10 grand. And then I'm done. I'm out of the deal. That I have no more commitment to pay any mortgage or take care of any repairs. All I did is I got a property under a lease option contract with the seller, and I sold that contract to the tenant buyer who's actually going to take my place. And I made a $10,000 assignment fee. It's as simple as that. These are the simplest deals in the world to do. This is a deal that one of my students did in Portland, Oregon. We all love Portland, Oregon right now, don't we? Well, the lead came from a FSBO. The seller couldn't sell it. 9 months later, he contacted Bob because Bob was following up. The seller tried to sell with a realtor. They were downsizing. They couldn't afford 2 payments. And so he advertised the property on Craigslist, got a ton of calls. It's a nice home, right? Good. This is why I love lease options, because I can do this with nice homes in nice areas. So the seller had it listed for $294 and they owed $285. So Bob offered the seller what they owed, $285 and $1,950 a month in rent for 2 years. That's what the market rents were in the neighborhood. Then Bob turned around and advertised the property. He bumped the price up a little bit. He advertised it for $292,900 and $1,950 a month for 2 years. How did he get that $292,900? He took $285 plus $7,900. Now he kept that $7,900 option deposit money as his assignment fee. All right. He stuck a sign in the yard, rent to own, 3% moves you in, phone number. By the way, that sign is a great sign to put out there. This will get you phone calls. Rent to own, 3% moves you in, phone number. He found a lot of people with large down payments. He built up his list of future tenant buyers for future deals. He found a buyer within 7 days. This is really common. When you get a nice, good deal, you're going to find your tenant buyers really quickly. And in fact, I would say that you're going to find your tenant buyers faster than you are going to find your cash buyers for your wholesale deals. He used an attorney and an escrow company to handle all the paperwork, the legal stuff, and he made $7,900 doing that deal, right? And this is why I love lease options, because it's nice houses, nice neighborhoods. So then they ask you, which house would you rather wholesale? The one on the left or the one on the right? Now you can still make money wholesaling that house on the right, but wouldn't it be easier, do you think? Wouldn't you rather wholesale that house on the right? Did I say that right? You're going to wholesale that house on the left or fix that up and rent it out. I mean, which houses do you think is going to give you a better tenant? Which one's going to cash flow better? Which one's going to require less maintenance in the future, right? How many more people, how much easier is it going to be to find somebody who wants to live here or somebody who wants to live here? You understand what I'm saying? So you can still wholesale the house on the left. I'm just telling you, this house on the right, you can lease option that house. You don't have to get a mortgage. You don't have to borrow any money. You just lease option that house and turn around and sell it to a tenant buyer. We'll talk more about that. One of the other things I teach in the course too is what if you could train your virtual assistant to find virtual deals for you? This is Alma, and this was this in California? She made $10,000 on this deal. I mean, it looks like California. I could swear it was. But her VA, her virtual assistant, found this deal, and it sat unfinished for a long time. And the VA found it for her, and she wholesaled it, made 10 grand. I forget where that was. Anyway, I need to find out. Now, what about great cash flow without actually buying a house? Let's talk about sandwich lease options. This is a cash flow strategy. Remember, in the sandwich lease option, there's 3 profit centers: cash now, cash flow, and cash later. So when you stay in the middle of these deals, you're going to make 30 grand plus. I mean, low end, you're going to make 30 grand, especially in California. You're going to make much more than that. And you make a lot more money by staying in the middle of these deals. So you're making the cash flow, 300 to 500 a month, which is pretty common. Okay. Brian, one of my students, made 10 grand and he's got 2 checks there for 33 grand. But this is how it worked. He put 0 down. The seller paid 8 grand for new carpet. He did put 3,500 in for paint and landscaping, although he didn't have to do that. He got an option deposit there. I know it's hard to see. He got an option deposit of $35,000 from the tenant buyer. That goes into Hip Pocket National Bank. Okay. That's not money that you have to keep in an escrow account somewhere. So he's paying the seller $2,500 a month and he's collecting $2,900 a month. So what's his cash flow? $400 a month. So at the end of the day, he's going to make $85,000 on this deal. I think this is in Virginia. Anyway, he's going to make $85,000 on this deal without getting a mortgage with his 3 paydays. Okay. Cash now, cash flow, cash later. I'll explain this more. This is a deal that I did recently in a small town in Nebraska, 480 people. This is a small little town north of Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, 480 people, guys. Look at this tiny little thing, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 816 square foot. I know that little house would be a couple $1 million in San Francisco, but this thing was worth about 90 to 100,000 bucks. The seller, it's a long story, but was going to jail and he didn't have time to sell it, but he couldn't manage a rental property while being in jail. Right. So, he was trying to sell it at 95 grand, didn't have enough time to find a buyer. The estimate from Zillow was about 85 grand. His payments are $626 a month, and this property rents for about about $950 a month. Okay. So we gave him an offer. Now look at this real quick. I'm not going to dive too much into this, but the A to B is our offer with the seller, and the B to C was our offer with the tenant buyer. We're staying in the middle of this deal. Okay. So we gave him, it's worth about $95,000 today at the time. So we gave him an option contract to buy it for $82,500 in 5 years. And we offered to pay his mortgage payment. We're just going to send it to the bank of $626. So we only needed to negotiate about a 10 to 13% discount on this deal. It wasn't much. Okay. And because he was going to jail, we just felt kind of bad for him. His wife had to move out with their kid to go to live with her parents. It was an accident. I can't tell you everything that happened, but it wasn't intentional. It was an accident, very, very unfortunate accident. So anyway, now we found a tenant buyer before we even signed the contract with the seller. It was just really, really smoking hot deal. So we have now a contract with the seller. So the A to B is between us and the seller. So the B is the investor, and then the B to C is the contract with the tenant buyer, and the B is the investor. Okay. So we set it up with an option price. We sell it to them for $95,950 a month for 3 years. We have 5 years with the seller, 3 years with the tenant buyer, and we collected an option deposit of $7 grand. I was just talking to my friend who's from there and was working with me on helping me on this deal. The tenant buyer has already come and replaced all the windows, put all new flooring in, and the house is in better shape than it was before. And she hasn't even bought it yet. Okay. Now, remember, there's 3 profit centers: cash now, cash flow, and cash later. Our cash now is $3 grand. Now, this is a small little deal. I'm just trying to show you how easy this is with small little deals. Okay. Cash now in our pocket is $3 grand. We collected $7 grand from the tenant buyer and we gave the seller $4 grand. Our cash flow, and this is crazy, is $324 a month. We're paying this mortgage every month. We're paying the rent of $626, which goes to the bank. Oops. And we're collecting $950 a month. So for 3 years, that's $11,664 in cash flow. And cash later, when we sell the deal, we're going to sell it for $95, we're going to buy it for $82. We're going to make $12,500 profit on this deal. So our total profit on this deal is just $24,000. Now, just multiply that by 3 if you're in California, and you'll be making $72,000. But here, guys, we're getting $324 a month in cash flow on a deal, and the tenant is fixing it up, taking care of all the maintenance, replacing windows, replacing floor. We're cash flowing $324. How much money out of our pocket for this deal? Zero. Now, even though we gave the seller $4,000, we didn't give them that money until we collected the $7,000 from the tenant buyer. All right. So this is just crazy. I walked through an example. If you just did one of those simple deals a month, if you just did one of these deals a month in another state, let's say you targeted Nebraska, which you can easily do, right? If you just did one of these deals a month where you're getting $3,000, you'd be making $36,000 a year just from the option deposit, just from the cash now. If you're doing one of these a month, by the end of the first year, you're going to be getting about $3,900 a month in cash flow. And your equity would be about $150,000 after 1 year. These are small deals. Okay. Now, if in 5 years you just continue to do one deal a month, you'd have over 60 homes. You would have sold half of them. You'd have about $9,700 a month in cash flow. You'd have over $375,000 in equity, and you'd have over $725,000 in 5 years just doing one of these simple little deals in a small town, Omaha, Nebraska, near Omaha, Nebraska, and a population of 480 people. Right? It's just crazy. Without getting any mortgages, it's great. Brian also did another deal where he zeroed down to the seller. He's buying it for $270,000. He got a $10,000 option deposit from the tenant buyer. So he's paying the seller $1,600. He's collecting $1,950. So his cash flow is what? $350 a month. He's selling it for $319,000. And he's buying it for $270,000. So his total profit on the deal is $54,000. And he found this online for sale by owner on Zillow. So if you guys that are wondering if this works, the answer is yeah. George Stevenson, one of my students, $800 a month cash flow in his first two deals from one simple idea I gave him. Eric is going to net about $48,000 on this deal. He's getting $300 a month cash flow, simple lease option deal. Corey, my man in Pennsylvania, did 4 sandwich lease options in 10 months. Made $15,000. So these aren't like huge, monstrous deals, but these are really simple deals. Now, what about small towns? What about junker properties? Marty, one of my students, I love this deal. This is a small town in Alabama, and this house needed a lot of work. Now, when I talk about deals in Pennsylvania and Alabama and Nebraska, don't think like, oh, this doesn't work here. This is my California is different. Guys, this works everywhere. I mean, do you have houses in California that need updating? Yeah, I think you do, right? Do you have houses where the seller is really motivated, but they don't want to drop their price to where it needs to be to sell it fast? Well, what if you could give the seller the price they wanted if they gave you the terms that you wanted? And that's what this deal was. A lot of wholesalers, they made a bunch of offers on this house, but the seller just rejected all of them. And so the Marty, my student, said, hey, listen, what if I could give you the price that you wanted if you let me keep 100% of the rent for the first 2 years? And so I said, okay. And she said, you know what? This needs a lot of work, but I'm not going to do any of the, I'm not going to, how did she phrase it? Here's the thing. The seller wanted the price that he wanted, didn't believe that it needed really that much work. Inside, it was a mess, right? So Marty said, listen, I'll give you the price that you want, and I'll still do the repairs, but you need to let me keep 100% of the rent for the first 2 years. He said, okay. And then she said, for the next 3 years, we'll split the rent 50-50. He said, okay. So she's getting $900 a month cash flow the first 2 years and $450 a month cash flow for the next 3 years. She advertised the house. She stuck a sign in the yard and found a buyer in the same day. She stuck a sign in the yard, said handyman special, and she found a buyer. She's going to make $52,000 on this deal. Just crazy. And she didn't buy it. She gave the seller the price they want. She didn't do any new mortgage. And the tenant buyer who's moving into the house is a handyman. He's an electrical contractor, self-employed. It's hard for him to get a mortgage. And he wanted to be able to get this property while he worked on building up his credit and getting 2 years of tax return, taxable, verifiable income. And so he could get a good mortgage. So do you see how everybody wins here? The seller got the price they want. They're willing to wait for it, but they wanted that price. The tenant buyer got into a property that they could, with bad credit, that they could pick the the cabinets they wanted, pick the walls that they wanted, pick the floors that they wanted, color, whatever they wanted, right? And they're building up their equity. Marty, the investor, wins by getting an investment property. She doesn't have to worry about repairs and maintenance and vacancies. And she's getting $900 a month in cash flow. All right. So anyway, you can also use lease options to find your own dream house, which is crazy awesome. Real quick, this is Carl in Alabama. He used the lease option to buy his own personal residence. This is about a $500,000 house in a really nice area down in Alabama. He negotiated with the seller, 5-year lease option, 0 down, no credit checks, no fees, no commissions. Guys, every lease option deal I've done, I've never had a seller pull my credit. Never. I might have had a seller say that they wanted to, and I just said, well, you know what? That's just not going to work. I do so many deals. If I let every seller pull my credit, it just would hurt my credit score, and it's private information. If this isn't going to work for you, it's fine. No big deal. This is probably not a good fit. Plus, he negotiated the seller, give them the price they want. He negotiated a $1,000 rent credit every month. So he's going to have over $140,000 in equity in 5 years based on average appreciation and equity, the rent credits that he's negotiating. So he solved 2 problems with on this deal. Number one, he helped a seller who was worried about making another mortgage payment. I think it was an older lady. Her husband passed away. There was still a mortgage on this house. It was too big for her. She wanted out of it. So she bought another house, thought she could sell it quickly, but now had 2 mortgage payments. Now, Carl's wife wanted a house in that really nice neighborhood, and they couldn't get a mortgage right now because he was self-employed. She was in education, didn't make that much money. He made great money, but again, he was self-employed, taking as many tax write-offs as he can. And so he needed 2, 3, 4, 5 years to establish a credit and a history on this property so he could get a mortgage. Okay. So you can find great properties for yourself as lease options. Now, we bought a couple of houses on lease options, and we found these properties on Zillow. This first one was a property, the seller, it doesn't look like that big of a house, but it was about 4,500 square feet, finished walkout basement. We have basements in California. I mean, in Missouri. And it was a finished walkout basement, and it was just gorgeous on a cul-de-sac, big fence backyard, but it wasn't private. We had neighbors to the left and right and behind us. We wanted something more private. So we had a lease option with the seller. We didn't put any money down. I think it was 3 years. And at the end, we just said, you know what? We don't want to buy it. And we gave it back to the seller. Not a big deal. Then we found this. This is in the western suburbs of St. Louis. It's on 3 acres. It's completely private. And we just love it. And it's just 5-10 minutes from the shopping. So it's not like we're way out in the sticks either. And we love this house. We found it as a lease option. The seller had it listed as a for sale by owner. At the time, I couldn't get a mortgage because I was self-employed, making too much money, but not enough on my taxes, right? And I had some things that had happened from the crash when I lost my properties to foreclosures and stuff and short sales that were still hanging on my credit. And so I just asked him, I said, can we lease this house for a year or 2 and then buy it? He said, yeah, no problem. Go look at it. And he was actually an absentee owner, lived in Florida, owned this house free and clear. He was just asking too much for it. He wasn't in a big hurry to sell it. And he liked the fact that we had 4 kids, and because he had 3 or 4 kids and he wanted, some kids to play in the backyard and all that. So anyway, we lease optioned the house for a few years. We turned it into owner financing, and then we've eventually got a mortgage on it. All because, and this is a jumbo loan, right? And so I know you guys do a lot of jumbo loans in California, but when you're self-employed as an investor and you're trying to get a jumbo loan, you're going to have a hard time getting mortgages because you just have to have you have to have more money down. You have to have a higher credit score. You have to have a better payment history, lower debt to income ratio. You have more documentation you have to prove, especially when you're self-employed trying to get a jumbo loan on a nice house. But lease options now allow you. Now, it was easy for me to get a mortgage because I was able to show a long payment history of on-time payments. So anyway, I love lease options, especially for finding your own dream house. It's one of my favorite strategies in the world. All right. Now, here are the steps for doing your own lease option deals. I was speaking at an event one time. I was overwhelmed by all the speakers that were just giving you all this stuff you had to do. And I thought, I wonder if I can write down on one piece of paper how to do a lease option deal. And I did. I wrote it down on 9 steps. Number 1, you find a motivated seller. Number 2, you talk to the seller. Number 3, you make them an offer, get it under a 1-page contract. Number 4, you advertise the property. Number 5, you show the house, take calls, and I get a realtor to do that for me. And then I pre-qualify the applicants. There's some more paperwork to do, make sure the tenant buyer is going into credit repair, and you cash a check. So you could do these deals, it's not that hard. It's actually pretty simple. Now, first thing you got to do is you need to pick a market. And even if you're in California, you need to make sure you're focusing in on the median home price, median rents. And I recommend starting in your own county, in your own area, and then maybe zoom out from there. Now, don't ignore the small towns. Don't ignore places like Stockton or Modesto, or as you're zooming out. And don't ignore even the small towns in the neighboring states around you, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, New Mexico, Arizona, right? So you can do this in any part of the country. So start in your backyard, but then zoom out. But wherever you are, make sure you're staying in the median home price range, okay? You don't want really cheap homes and you don't want really expensive homes. Why is that? Because that's where the buyers are. You want to be where the buyers are. Now, small towns, I love small towns. There's zero competition for deals in small towns. People still want to live there, especially with this pandemic. And you can do all these deals virtually, like I was just saying. Okay, so you pick a market. Number 2, you need to do your marketing. Really simple. I'm going to show you the best sources of free seller leads. Probably give you more than you can handle, right? Zillow. And I like to look for the rentals and the for sale by owners on Zillow. Facebook Marketplace, look for rentals on Facebook Marketplace. And then other investors' dead leads. Guys, this is going to be huge for you, especially in California. There's a lot of investors that are doing a lot of marketing, direct mail, Facebook ads, and they're spending a lot of money on deals. I had a friend in San Diego who was spending on average of $8,000 to $10,000 in marketing per deal. $8,000 to $10,000 in marketing per deal. Now, he was making $30,000 on average, but he was spending a lot of money. Now, he's getting leads. What are they doing with those leads? Well, they're throwing them in the woodpile. What if you found another investor and said, listen, if you let me follow up with your dead leads, we'll split the deal 50-50. Now you can go to those dead leads and offer them lease options, okay? And the other thing that I really love is sending letters to owners of older listings. Like I showed you there on Redfin, there was a few hundred properties that have been on the market over 60 days. Those are great properties to send a letter to the owner and the realtor if you want, offering their asking price if they'd be willing to do a lease option. Now, Facebook, Zillow, Marketplace, I like to look for rent and for sale by owner leads. I send them what I call the 1-2-3 punch. I send them an email, a text, and a voicemail because I only want to talk to people who raise their hands. I'm not doing any cold calling. You can if you want, it works, but I only want to talk to people who raise their hands and say, yeah, I might be interested. Okay. And I say something like, hey, I saw your property on Zillow at 123 Main Street. You wouldn't maybe consider selling your rental, would you? Or if it's a FSBO, I might say, hey, I saw your property. Looks like a real nice home. You wouldn't be open to maybe leasing your house for a year and then selling it, would you? Simple as that, right? Jim, one of my students, does this. The other day, he messaged, hey, I sent 19 texts, went out today. I got 3 sellers interested in a lease option. That's a 16% response rate. I hear that all the time. This is Mike when I was speaking one time in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. And while I was speaking, he got 2 appointments during my presentation. I was like, why weren't you listening? And I said, wait a minute, you were listening. You were actually doing what I told you to do. He sent this text to the seller. Good morning. Would you be interested in leasing your home for a couple of years and then selling? I'm looking for a lease option. Seller responded, I'd be open to that option. Are you local? All right. Now, Will's one of my students from, was it Seattle? No, Salt Lake City, Utah. And he was at a position where a situation in his life where the market crashed. He was hemorrhaging cash and he didn't even have any more cash to hemorrhage. His kids were at school. He had no food in the garage. He had no food in the refrigerator to feed his kids when they got home from school. And he had all of the garage sales he could have. He sold everything he could. He was a realtor doing a lot of deals, but when the market crashed, he lost everything. And he was sitting on his couch. And he thought, you know what, if I sell this couch today on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, whatever it was, I can maybe make some money to get some gas in the car and get some food for my kids. So he listed his couch, got some money, and was able to go get some gas and some food for his kids. And he was telling me this story in tears when he called me. I couldn't believe it. And then he said, Joe, I heard your webinar, and I didn't have any money to invest in the course, but what you said clicked, and I started doing the marketing that you're talking about, and I started doing deals. And within a few months, guys, he was averaging over $10,000 a month doing marketing that he didn't even have the money for. Right. It's just, I love that story. I still think of it. I still think of him a lot today. All right. So, by the way, guys, you can do all that marketing I'm talking about in what I call the Joe McCall signature edition of Freedom Sauce. And I'm going to be talking about that later and how you can get it for free. All right. The third step is you got to talk to sellers. So you pick a market, you do send out some marketing. I like to send out simple free marketing or follow up with other wholesalers, dead leads. And so I only talk to people that maybe raise their hands and say, yeah, I'm interested. Then I got to talk to them. Super easy though, right? I just ask them questions. I keep it really simple. Keep my conversations with the sellers really short, 3 to 5 minutes max. You don't need to lowball the sellers, right? And you don't need to sell the whole lease option concept either. I just say, hey, you know what? I sent you that text. I'm looking for an investment property in the area. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your house? That's it. So I have a proposal that I send them that does the selling for me. Because if you get tripped up and try to talk them into a lease option or try to sell them on the phone, you're going to lose the deal. You're just asking questions about the house. That's it. You know, is it a nice house? Good area? Good schools? It's in good shape? Sounds like a nice house. You know, why would you even want to sell it? Why haven't you sold it yet? Right? I'm sure you're getting tons of offers. What are you going to do, Mr. Seller, if you can't sell it? Are you going to rent it out? Oh, that's a great question, right? Because if they are trying to sell it and they've decided, you know what, if we don't, we're going to rent it. That's a great lease option candidate right there. You can say things like this. Well, you know, I'm looking for a property that I can maybe rent for a year and then buy. That wouldn't work for you, would it? That's as simple. That's how you sell the lease option thing. All right. Now, what if you can't talk to sellers like Kathy? This is not her. She was one of my students. I think she was in South Dakota, and her husband's working full-time job. They have a little tiny house. She's got 3 kids, all under the age of, I think, 4 or 5 or something like that. Not in school yet. And she could not talk to sellers even if she wanted to. She just wanted to make some extra money so she could pay some bills, save up for some vacation. But she could not talk to sellers, even if she wanted to, because the kids were running around screaming, mommy, mommy, playing, crying, laughing, you know. And so she would every week start working with her, and she would pick a brand new market, almost like throwing a dart at a map, and would pick a brand new market, and just for the week would send out 50 to 100 emails and text messages a day to all of the rentals and all of the FSBOs in that market. And she started doing 2 to 3 deals a month just by text and email and not talking to anybody. She would tell them, you know, I'm in South Dakota, whatever her town was, and my kids are screaming, I can't talk right now. Listen, if you'd be interested in a lease option, let me send you this thing, take a look at it. And if you're interested, let me know. And she'd find the seller. Sometimes she did say I would step outside to talk for a few minutes, but then she would find a local realtor. Then when she got it under contract, she'd find a local realtor to help her market the property. So guys, there is no excuse. I'm removing all of your excuses. You can still do deals without even talking to sellers, just by texting and by emailing. Now, could she have done more deals if she would talk to them? Yeah, but you don't have to. That's what I'm trying to say here. So after you pick your market, you do your marketing, you talk to sellers. Now you need to make just simple offers. And my offers are really simple. I make an offer to every single seller. It helps me stand above my competition. I give them options, right? And how would you like me to help you make offers? I had a goal to evaluate a deal, analyze it, structure it, write an offer in 5 minutes or less. And I wanted to create this software that would do this and sell it for less than $97 a month. So I did. I created a software called Automated Offer Pro, and I normally charge $47 a month for it. And what this is, it's so simple. You find a deal like this. This is a deal in Texas City, Texas. They're advertising it for $1,500 a month in rent. I put in my information. I put in the property information. I figure the after repair value, the ARV, and I do this really simple. I just figure that from like the average of Zillow or Redfin or PropStream or all these other different tools, where I find Trulia even there, or Realty Track is another one. And I just get the average of whatever their estimated values are. And that's how I figure out my ARV, real simple. Okay. And then for my cash offers, I have two different ways to do cash offers, but I put in the numbers. There's a few drop downs, real simple there. And then I figure out my lease options, and it gives you little tips and hints, usually 50, where we go, usually 15% for your equity. Okay. And your desired cash flow. And you walk through these numbers and you just fill out some things. And then you also, if you wanted to, you could offer them owner financing. Now, here you go. This is like having me looking over your shoulder and helping you make offers. This thing is amazing. I'm so happy about it. What this does then is it gives you multiple different offers that you can present to the seller. One that is all cash. It gives you another option for sandwich lease option, another one for wholesaling lease options, another one for owner financing interest only payments, and one with owner financing principal only payments. Okay. Now, remember, again, you don't have to be the creative financing expert. It's okay if you don't have any experience yet. You're not really selling anything. I want my proposals and my credibility kits to do the selling for you. Okay. And these documents that come from this software, they cover all different cash offers, lease options, and owner financing offers all together. And what you get is a cover letter, a letter of intent, which gives them their options and explains it. It gives them a one-page summary of what a lease option is, a summary of the benefits. And then it has 3 pages of frequently asked questions, whether it's for owner financing or lease option or whatnot. And then even for cash deals, it gives you a cover letter, a one-page contract, and it gives you a summary of the benefits and different ways to sell your properties. And it just walks through step by step how easy it is to sell your deals. And you'll also get, like these are the outputs, the reports that this software gives you. So all you need to do is like save it and send it to the seller. Save it on your computer and send it to the sellers. Okay. But I like to send an offer to every single seller I talk to. I want to send an offer to every single seller I talk to, right? And a lot of sellers are going to say no. That's just the way it is. But most of my deals come from the follow-up, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So that's why I want to send an offer to every single seller, because the ones that say no, I'm going to send them an offer and I'm going to give them options. Guys, your competition's not doing this. They're not. They just give them a cash offer and walk away. Well, what if you could give the seller a cash offer, a lease purchase offer, and a seller financing offer, and say, listen, if these offers don't work for you now, please keep this letter for future reference. I know it's really hard to see, but you can see how this steps up. My seller financing offer is at 105. My lease purchase offer is at 92, and my cash offer is at 65. So it kind of steps up. I give them options, and then I follow up with them. And then I also have a one-page report of how to sell your house as is at a fair price on the date of your choice. Yeah, this is real simple, because now you guys can just plug the numbers into the software, and it spits out different proposals that you can send to the sellers. And all of that for just $47 a month. I'm going to give it to you for free if you stick around. All right. Now this is super important, organization and follow-up, because 80 to 90% of your deals are going to come from the follow-up, plain and simple. And you need to have a system to organize and do all of your follow-up for you in spite of you. So I had a goal again to automate everything. And this software, it's called FreedomSoft, the Joe McCall Signature Edition. I've partnered with FreedomSoft and I've customized it for lease option deals. This will do almost everything for you: emails, texts, phone calls, notes, websites, all my paperwork. It's an automated marketing engine, 24 hours that works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the tool is absolutely amazing. I use it every single day in my business for my wholesaling deals, my lease option deals, my land deals. And it just crushes it. Nona, one of my students, she says, with FreedomSoft and virtual assistants, we are able to literally run our business from anywhere. You have no idea how many systems we tried before FreedomSoft, and by far this is the best. What are you waiting for? Thomas says FreedomSoft is awesome, absolutely amazing, definitely a winner. Vince, holy mackerel! Within 15 minutes, I got 7 responses and 2 appointments with FreedomSoft. Now, I've been showing you the steps of doing a lease option deal. Right, number 1, you pick a market. Don't forget the small markets. Don't forget to look outside of your backyard. Number 2, you market for sellers. You're going to just send them texts and emails. You're going to talk to them if you can. Just ask them a few simple questions. You're going to make offers. Let the proposal do the selling for you, okay? The 5th step is you get it under contract. And I have a simple 1-page contract, a lease option on the left and a cash one on the right that you can use. Now, these are simple 1-page contracts. They're easy to understand. You're in California. You're not any different than any other state. Don't think that you're unique. Yeah, I always recommend you get a lawyer to review your contracts. But this one is very, very simple, and that's why it's so powerful. And this is just the initial contract. The one on the left, it's my one-page lease option contract. It's just the initial contract with the seller. When I find a tenant buyer, I use different ones. Now, I've done deals in California, and I just used the standard realtor. This has been years, but I used the standard realtor's lease and the standard realtor's purchase and sale agreement. And I just wrote on the contract under the broker language, I wrote down in big Sharpie, non-brokered transaction, non-brokered transaction. So you don't have to use my contracts if you don't want. Just use the regular contracts that you're already using. It's not a big deal. Get a lease. One time I did a deal on a market. I just called the biggest property management company. I pretended to be a tenant who was interested in one of their properties. And I just said, hey, can you send me your lease so I can look at it? And that property manager sent me their lease. And I started using that. You see how simple this is? All right. Now, my simple one-page contracts are easy to understand. I never put down more than $100 or $10 or $100 on a property. Sometimes a little bit more, depends, but usually 10 to $100. It doesn't tie up the property. I'm not obligated to make any payments while I find a tenant buyer. And if I can't find a good tenant buyer, I just cancel the contract or I renegotiate. So, no more pretending that you have the cash to actually buy the property when you don't. Now, you can use my contracts, or you can use realtors, property managers contracts, like I just said. I have a lot of students that go to Rocket Lawyer or Law Depot to find contracts, but whatever you use, you should have an attorney review your contracts. But don't think that lease options are any more complicated in California than they are anywhere else in the country. They're complicated everywhere. I mean, and I don't even think they're complicated, but if it's the first time that you've ever done a deal, okay. Now, all my contracts are inside of FreedomSoft, the Joe McCall signature edition. And the cool thing about FreedomSoft too is you can do digital signatures. So you're not going to have to use all these third-party things. You can do it all inside of FreedomSoft. The phone numbers, the websites, the digital signatures, the texting, the phone numbers, and all that good stuff. Now, again, the simple steps. Number one, pick a market. Number two, market for sellers. You just send texts and emails. Talk to sellers, ask them a few questions, make some offers, let the proposal do the selling for you. Get it under a simple one-page contract. And sixth step is find a buyer. And this is actually the easy part. Frank, one of my students, says, Joe, every time I mark a deal on Facebook, I have to set it as sold because it's difficult to have so many conversations at one time. And I love this at the bottom. He says, this is so much easier than marking a property up $5,000 and hoping to get lucky with a cash buyer that has 80 grand to spend or something. Thanks again, Joe. I'll keep you posted. I get tons of testimonials like that from students saying this is so much easier to sell my lease option deals than my cash deals was. All right. So this is how I like to find buyers, tenant buyers. Signs, Facebook Marketplace, groups. Facebook groups are amazing. Craigslist still put properties on the for rent and FSBO section. Zillow, a buyer's list if you have a FreedomSoft website, and maybe some Facebook ads, right? Let's talk about signs. Handwritten, ugly signs work the best. Okay. These are signs that have worked for me. Facebook Marketplace is amazing. Lots of leads from there. Facebook ads work really, really good. I've tested a lot of ads, and you can notice with this house on the left here, it's a smaller house and the grass is a little brown. This ad performed a lot better because this was an ad I was doing to build a list of tenant buyers looking for homes. And this property got way more leads because it was a simpler, humbler home. All right. And then when you get a property under contract, you can build a Facebook. We were doing deals in Jacksonville, Florida at one time. And we built a Facebook page and started advertising for these properties and got tons and tons of tenant buyers. Put the property on Zillow in the for rent section. Okay. Craigslist ads work really, really well. Now there's keys to finding buyers. I recommend you do for rent and for sale by owner. Remember this, you can only sell homes people want to buy. So it's important you stay in the median price range. Use FreedomSoft for marketing your deals. It's awesome. And I recommend when you use FreedomSoft to have a separate number for each property. So you can record a simple outbound voicemail that explains the deal. And it also then captures their phone numbers so you can add them to your buyers list. Okay. So you can text them information about the property. You can text them pictures or links to view the pictures. When you get another property in the area, you can text blast all of your tenant buyers about your other properties. Okay. Yeah, cool. And you can get a simple website that lists all your properties as well. Now, when it comes to buyers, remember, you need a checklist. I have a checklist in my course just so you don't forget anything. And I actually give that checklist to the realtor. You want to get the realtor to do all of this work for you. Just give them my checklist. Okay. And you only pay them again if they find a tenant buyer. William, one of my students, said this lease option world's crazy. I just got off the phone with a rent to own buyer who has 20K down. I can't move fast enough for all these opportunities. Now, I know I went through this really fast. Here are the steps again. Pick a market. Don't forget the small markets. Don't forget the other states. Do it in your backyard first, but look out into other markets. You send simple marketing like text, emails, and voicemails to sellers, and you only talk to the people who raise their hands and say, yeah, I might be interested. Tell me more. And then you just get on the phone to them and you ask them a few simple questions. You're not on the phone to try to sell them or convince them to do a lease option. You're just asking some questions. Then you mail offers. All right. I want you to mail offers in the physical mail to your sellers when you talk to them. Send it in an email and send it in the physical mail, and let this proposal that I give to you from my software do the selling for you. Okay. If they say yes, you can use my simple one-page contract. That's just the initial contract. Then you market it for a tenant buyer. Okay. You use my checklist, and then you flip the contract or you stay in the middle. Now, your average profit on these deals is going to be anywhere from 5 to 30 grand. It's going to be higher for you in California. You're going to get $300 to $500 a month in cash flow as well. Cool. Now, what if you actually knew how to do these secret deals virtually in multiple markets, and you could outsource all of the buyer and seller marketing and follow up? What if you could take leads that other people are throwing away, right, and turn them into quick $5,000 assignments or $30,000 back-end profits with $300 a month in cash flow without having to get a mortgage? Can you see how maybe you're just one deal away from changing your life forever? And if you just did one of these deals a month, you could have over $10,000 a month in cash flow and over $1 million in equity in under 4 years, especially if you're doing this in California, right? Just by doing one deal a month on average. But it's possible, right? You've just seen with your own eyes that you can do these simple lease option deals. You can start using this strategy right now in your business, no matter your experience, no matter if you already have a full-time job or not. So I believe that mastering simple lease options is the key to your financial freedom, which means money will never be an issue for you again, right? So where do we go from here? Good question. Listen, if you feel confident enough to take this knowledge and run with it, go ahead, right? You know how a lease option works, but let me give you some words of caution here, okay? It was with most things in life, when it comes to doing lease option deals, success is going to be found in the details. Just because you know how the game of football is played doesn't mean you can walk onto the field and win a Super Bowl. It's no different here, okay? What I've just shared with you today are the rules for increasing your cash flow and decreasing the overwhelm. And it took me years of dedicated study and practice to really master this art. Was it worth it? Yeah, obviously. Yes, it was. Learning this is what allowed me to go from working 7 to 7, working in a cubicle, climbing some stupid middle manager corporate ladder that I hated, to quitting my job within 3 months of doing this part-time, traveling around the world with my family, doing deals virtually in multiple markets, and then eventually even buying our dream house as a lease option. Okay. But I studied and practiced every night for 2 or 3 hours, 3 years straight. After I got home from work, I spent tons of money on my education. I made a lot of mistakes. The bottom line is you just can't skip the process. Okay. If you want to become a doctor, you've got to go through med school. If you want to make money doing lease options or creative financing deals, you have to learn how to market, how to talk to sellers, how to make offers, follow up, sell your deals, et cetera, right? And then you got to learn how to create systems and delegate whatever you can't automate. But 3 years is a long time. And I don't know what your confidence level might be right now when it comes to doing lease option deals on your own, 30%, 50, 70%. Well, let me ask you something. What would your confidence level be if I walked you through the entire process, step by step and system by system? Would that increase your confidence level to the 90, 100% range? Well, what if we could shorten your learning curve down from 3 years to just a few weeks? Well, today I'm going to give a few of you that opportunity if you're interested, and here's how we're going to do that. We're going to start doing these simple lease option deals together from start to finish, okay? And by the time you're done, you're going to have a system in place that brings you lease option deals automatically. And if you complete the course, it's completely free. Who would be interested if it was completely free? This is crazy. Nobody else is doing this. It's going to blow you away. And I'm going to explain why it's free here in just a minute. So this program is for you, whether you're a beginner or an experienced investor. If you're interested in learning a new strategy for doing deals on nice homes, nice areas, even if they have little to no equity, This is for you if you're looking for nice, consistent cash flow without the landlord headaches. Maybe you want to get more of your offers accepted. You're tired of spending so much money on marketing. It's not working like it used to. You want to do something now with all the leads that you're throwing away or all the leads that you see other investors throwing away. Maybe you've tried wholesaling. It's just not working for you. You're struggling. Okay. Maybe you're in an expensive competitive market. Maybe you're watching this and you're in a small market, or you're looking for an easy way to do deals in virtual markets while traveling around the world. Maybe you just want to do lease options full time, or just keep it as a tool in your tool belt, right? Well, then this program is specifically for you. This is how it's going to work. I have an 8-week implementation program so that by the time we're done, you're going to have a complete simple lease options, automated investing secrets business set up with you for you. In other words, guys, I'm going to help you set up your own real estate investing business with you step by step. By the way, I used to call it automated investing secrets, and I changed the name back to simple lease options, what I used to call it. That's okay. Anyway, so the videos that I've created for you in the masterclass will be recordings of my computer screen as I walk you through all the steps for doing deals and setting up your own virtual lease options business, click by click. All right. And together, we're going to start at the very beginning and go through the entire process. The first module, it's a fast start guide. You're going to learn how to hit the ground running, how to do deals beginning to end from the very first module. And then we're going to focus on marketing for sellers. Then we're going to focus on talking to sellers and making offers, marketing for buyers, the contracts, growing and scaling your business. I even talk about land contracts and owner financing or contract for deeds, subject tos, and things like that. And then I talk about systems and automation. Now, maybe you don't believe me, like, Joe, this is all hype. Well, maybe, listen to some of my students and let them speak for me on my behalf. $800 a month, Anthony, on one of his sandwich lease option deals. Joe, just like you said, no competition, third one this month. Glenn, thank you for everything you do. I've learned a lot from you. This really didn't take much work. I want to take my business to the next level now, made $7,300. Nona and Justin made $11,860. Another tenant buyer option deposit and first month's rent. We tend to smile the hardest on these and closing days. Matt, one of my friends and students in Ohio, hey, just closed on a $20,000 lease option fee up front. He's getting $700 a month cash flow on this deal. He's got a $55,000 profit back in Ohio. Somebody asked JR, hey, does anybody have Joe's course? JR responded, I bought it, built a business out of it. I average about 2 to 3 deals a month right now. One of my students, Phil Marsh, in small town Illinois, sent me as a joke this pictures of before and after photos of a house. There is no difference between the two, but he made $28,000 profit on that thing. So today, guys, you're watching this webinar. You've seen these case studies that prove the strategy works. And by now, I'm sure it's abundantly clear that joining Simple Lease Options will be one of the best decisions you've ever made. So can you say yes to these things? Can you find a landlord on Zillow and send them a text? Can you put some numbers from Zillow in a calculator and send them some multiple offers? Can you put their information in FreedomSoft and let it do all of your follow-up for you? Then you can start making money with Simple Lease Option deals. If you're ready to start doing deals and making some real money, this is how to get started. By the time you've completed my course, you should have a fully functional lease options business making you money without the overwhelm. You should be getting free leads, making fast offers, and have most of your business outsourced and automated. How much does this course cost? Well, the retail value of my class, what I sell it on my website for, if you go there today, it's $24.97. That's what I sell it for. In fact, I'm really thinking about raising my prices soon. And if that sounds expensive, it is. But keep this in mind. The way you're doing deals now, or maybe you're only getting 1 out of 30 offers accepted, when you could be getting 3 out of 30 offers accepted, that's costing you at least 10 grand a month. And if you just did one lease option deal a month, you could be making anywhere from $3,000 to $30,000 in profits, depending on your exit strategy. And if you wanted one-on-one coaching from me and you wanted me to personally teach you this stuff, I wouldn't charge you a penny less than 50 grand. So is $24.97? Yeah, of course it is. Is it $24.97 worth it? Yes, it is, right? You should be able to do one lease option deal a month. But if all you did was one in an entire year, it would cover the investment in the system. And the fact that you're still here watching this means that you're actually serious about the success of your business. So this is what I'm going to do. One of my biggest thrills in life is getting emails and Facebook posts from students like you who've gone through my courses and used it to change your life. So if you're willing to invest in yourself today, I'm going to be willing to invest in you. I'm going to take $14.97 out of my pocket, and I'm going to invest that into you and to your future success with simple lease options. So right now during this webinar, for the next 60 minutes or so, actually you have until the end of the weekend, just for you guys. I'm going to give you a special $14.97 discount. And I'm going to reduce the price from $24.97 to just $9.97. Oh, or 2 payments of $5.97. That's not right. Let me fix that real quick. Hold on. Well, it's 2 payments of $5.97. It's not 5 payments. Or now, I'm going to show you how to get it for free here in just a minute. Now, to put that into perspective, you just saw me demonstrate how you can make $3,000 to $30,000 on one simple deal. You saw how I quit my job in 3 months, one of the worst economies that we've ever seen. So would you invest $9.97 to acquire that ability and do the same thing? I hope so. Now, with that being said, there's one small catch. That $14.97 discount is only good for the next few days on the link that I'm going to give you real soon here. Now, why this deadline? Because decisiveness is a trait shared by all successful entrepreneurs. Simply put, guys, you cannot drive a parked car. You can't. Have you ever tried it? It doesn't work. You got to put it in gear, right? You can't build a business while sitting on a fence either. So I want to get you off the fence, and I want to help you decide to change your future. So in addition to the $14.97 discount, I want to make this a completely safe decision for you without any risk whatsoever. So I'm going to give you an unprecedented guarantee that's unheard of in this industry. First of all, follow along for the first few days of the program. If it's not a fit for you for any reason, just contact my support team. We'll get on the phone and figure out how we can help you better. And if we can't, we'll give you a 100% refund. But here's where things are going to get really interesting. Okay. Believe it or not, my goal here isn't to sell you a training program. And I'm going to prove that to you right now. My ultimate goal is to turn you into a successful real estate investor who can make a ton of money doing more deals. It's also to help you increase your cash flow, decrease your overwhelm, and create an incredible new source of income and purpose in your life. Now, while I'm going to take you by the hand and show you exactly what to do here in Simple Lease Options, in order for you guys to reach your goal, you must take action. And at this point, I'm confident that you're ready to get started, that you're serious about learning the skill set, and that you're ready to take action, or else you still wouldn't be here. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to offer you a completion challenge. Now follow along. If you follow along with the program and set up the marketing and systems that you're going to need for your own Simple Lease Options business, like I'm going to show you how to do click by click, when you do that, you're going to end up with a complete working business that can generate motivated seller leads on demand, make simple offers and follow up automatically, get properties quickly under a simple contract without really needing to negotiate anything, sell your deals to a hungry pool of buyers with money, and deposit massive profits in your bank account. So this is what I'm going to do for you. Once your Simple Lease Options business is complete and set up at any time over the next 6 months, let my team know, show us what you've done, and I will send you a check for the entire cost of my program. In other words, guys, I'm going to pay you to finish the program and change your life, but you only have up to this weekend to take me up on this offer or leave it. Now, I've never seen anyone else willing to do this, so why am I? Let me just clarify. All you need to do is go through the course, complete the course, set up your business, make some offers, and I'm going to give you your investment back. You don't even have to do a deal. Why would I do that? Well, number one, I want to reward people who take action. And I know that if you finish the course, I'll have made such a massive impact on your life that you'll be a raving fan and a customer of mine in the future. Okay. So from my point of view, it's an investment in my most valuable asset, which is you, my customers. Plus, I'm hoping that I can partner with some of you guys and you can bring me your deals. Recently, I did a deal with Carlos here, made just $3,000, not a big deal, but I partner with students on deals. So that means there's literally no way you can lose here. At a bare minimum, if you have a full money back guarantee to go through the program risk-free, and when you've successfully built your Simple Lease Options business, simply following the steps in the course, I'm going to give you 100% of your money back. You don't even have to do a deal. Now, what do you need to do to complete the setup challenge? Number one, just go through the modules, set up FreedomSoft, report on your numbers every week. We have a Facebook group. You can report on your numbers in there. Show us that you're actually making offers. Give us a testimonial. All the details are in the course, and I'm going to give you your money back. Crazy. I know. This is why I'm doing this. But no, let me explain this again. That may sound like a lot to you. I don't know. But I don't know anybody else who says, just go through the course and implement it, and I'll give you your money back. You kidding me? Like, that's it? Yeah. You don't even have to do a deal. Why would I do that? It's an investment in my most important asset, you, my customers. You're going to be a raving fan for life. Okay. Number two, I love getting testimonials. You're going to give me some testimonials. And number three, it's how I do, one of the ways I do deals. So I have students that bring me deals. I know that if you implement this course, you're going to start doing deals. Well, let's do some together. You don't have to partner with me on deals, but a lot of students do, and they want me to partner with them. This is Anthony. He says here, he did his first deal in a little over 6 weeks. It was a wholesale deal that paid him $12,149. Now he says here, I think Joe has lost his mind. The fact that he would refund the entire $1,500. Now I was charging him $1,500. I'm charging you $997 for just getting off our butts, following the plan and taking actionable steps. It's unbelievable. It's a bribe for doing what we should be doing anyway. And this shows that Joe wants us to succeed. So Joe, you're a stand-up guy, and my words above do not begin to express our gratitude. I look forward to posting a photo of us holding that check. Now, here's some more recent testimonies of students that have completed the course, who've set up their business and received a refund. Adam got his money back. 100% of his tenant buyers ultimately purchased the home. Jose, everything I struggled with as a wholesaler went out the window because Joe's systems gave me everything I need to be an investor as opposed to a one-trick pony wholesaler. Deanna got her money back within 2 weeks of purchasing the course. She was able to close her first lease option deal and make 10 grand. Hold on one second here. I got to write a note. Okay, sorry about that. Tim liked what I had to teach about lease options. He's looking for something less competitive than traditional wholesaling. DePaul, I'm very happy that I invested the money to work with Joe. I'm closing my first deal. It should make about 5 grand. Andrew, one of the biggest takeaways for me in this course was about using virtual assistants. He didn't even do a deal, but he completed the course, got his money back. Don got his money back. Jason got his money back. Jim is an attorney, got his money back. I love the program. I highly recommend it to anybody. Ryan is a diesel mechanic. He says, he gives you the opportunity to get your money back on the course. I mean, you can't complain there. Adrian got his money back. You gave me a systemized business in a box plus a full refund if I just did the work I was going to do anyway. No brainer. And he also did a deal. I made 10 grand in it. He's from the Atlanta market. Melvin did his first lease option agreement 1.5 months after he started the program. Father and son got their money back. Says, I can't believe that this excellent course, one of the best I've ever done, was completely free. Justin, remember when everyone was running worried about how COVID might make things difficult for investors, they were doing deals and getting their money back. Michelle got her money back. Thomas got his money back. And I got, oh, wait till you see this here. This is crazy. These are all guys in the last 6 to 12 months have gotten their money back from going through my course. And I charge them $1,500. I'm charging you guys only $997. These aren't people from Fiverr. All right. I didn't find people from Fiverr to post my checks. Again, why would I do that? For one simple reason: get testimonials, make a difference in somebody's life. They bring me deals. I partner with them on deals sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I do. And I love making people happy. Look at this. It's crazy, right? This really works. My philosophy is simple. If I can't make you money, then I don't deserve yours. But don't make this decision today. Just try it out. Worst case, put it on a credit card, make the decision in 30 days. You either complete the course and get your money back. You don't even have to do a deal. Or go through the course in a few days. If you don't like it, just let us know and we'll help you with that, okay? So here's the website. And it's important you go to this website soon because I'm going to be giving you some bonuses here in a minute where they only go for like the first 5 to 10 people, okay? Here it is, SJREI, San Jose Real Estate Investor.org/Joe. SJREI.org/Joe. Now, when you go to that site, you're going to get to a fully secured checkout page. It's going to open up. Keep on listening while you continue with this rest of the webinar. After you fill out the registration form, you hit submit, etc. We're going to send you. So we're going to get your information, and then probably tomorrow morning, we're going to send you the information to get into the membership area. Okay. And that's it. Again, sjrei.org. There'll be a welcome video to get started. Just follow along as I'm sending you a new lesson each week. I don't want to overwhelm you. So I'm going to be giving you a new lesson each week as I walk you through how to do simple lease option deals step by step. And again, make sure you forward your receipt to your CPA because this course is a tax deductible business expense and you may be able to save a lot of money. Now, if you're still on the fence, I have some amazing bonuses for you, but these bonuses are only guaranteed for the first 10 that buy in the next 60 minutes or so. So this may be, you may be 11, you may be buying it later. I don't know, but these bonuses are only guaranteed for the first 10. Now, some of you might be thinking, yeah, Joe, what if I make a bad offer? Can you really help me avoid looking stupid and making embarrassing offers? That's why I'm going to give you my free Automated Offer Pro software. This Automated Pro software will help you calculate your cash offers, lease option offers, owner financing offers. It's going to give you the proposals, credibility kits, the FAQs that you can send to the sellers that do the selling for you. It's just like having me look over your shoulder, helping you make a professional offer. You don't need to worry about making costly mistakes. Man, some of you are saying, I'm interested in using FreedomSoft for all my marketing and automation, but I'm not good with technology. Can you help me learn it? Can I try it out first? So I'm going to give you FreedomSoft for free for the first 30 days. Now, after it's 30 days, it's $197 a month. I need to erase the 97. It's $197 a month if you want to keep it. And I can tell you this. Hang on a second. I'm writing notes. It's you're going to save money if you with all the different tools that you would have to get. Anyway, this includes all of my contracts, documents, text messages, marketing pieces, automations, websites. It's all going to be in your FreedomSoft account. Short, easy to follow, step-by-step video tutorials. And we do live onboarding training classes in FreedomSoft every weekday. Okay. Now, some of you are like, I don't want to learn how to do this. I want virtual assistants do you have any VAs that I can hire that are already trained in FreedomSoft? And we do. Again, we're going to, for this first 10 only, we're going to give you 10 free hours of our pre-trained virtual assistants for free. They already know how to use FreedomSoft. They've already been trained on it. And if you already have a virtual assistant, that's fine. You can let us train your VAs for you. Some of you are like, okay, what if I get stuck and I have a question? How do I get help? Do you outsource your coaching to some sales floor in Utah? No. For the first 10 again, you're going to have questions. How would you like someone to answer your questions? I'm going to give you free access for 90 days to what I call the Joe's Inner Circle. It's normally $47 a month. You're going to get it for free for 90 days, and we're not going to automatically start charging your card later. But we're also going to be giving you one free onboarding call for all new members. We do weekly support calls and monthly sales training calls. And we have a Facebook group mastermind where you can network with other investors and get all your questions answered there in the Facebook group. So just to recap this again, we have weekly coaching calls. We have onboarding calls that we do for new members, and we have a Facebook group where you can get all your questions answered. Now, some of you are like, all right, this is great. What if it actually works? And a seller says, yes, what do I do now? Well, this is the great part because you can partner with me on deals if you want. You don't have to. So submit your offers to the Facebook group. We're going to review it. And once you get a deal under contract, we'll partner with you on it if you want. You don't have to. We'll get on the phone. I'll coach you through it. We'll split the profits 50-50. Here's the cool thing about this, guys. We're not going to let you do a bad deal because once I review it and I might tell you, hey, listen, that's not a good deal. You need to go back to the seller and cancel it or renegotiate or something, right? And the way our contracts are set up is you can also cancel the contract if it is a bad deal and you can't find a buyer. Cool. Now you're like, all right, awesome. I'm ready to go. What do I do first? Well, how would you like some free motivated seller leads to get started even faster? So bonus number 6 is I'm going to give you free seller leads. If you want to get started as fast as possible and you don't want to worry about going out and scraping a ton of Zillow properties one at a time, we're going to scrape all your Zillow rentals and FSBOs in your county for free up to 1,000 records. And we're going to import these leads if you want into your free FreedomSoft account when you're ready. And with just a few clicks, you can start sending text messages and letters to sellers. And we're also going to give you over 3,000 free seller record leads in FreedomSoft as well. Some of you are like, all right, Joe, this is great, but these modules are going to be released weekly. Do I have to wait until they're all released before I can start doing deals? The answer is no, because I'm going to give you some fast start bonus courses. I'm going to give you access to all the resources immediately, the contracts, the checklists, and I'm going to give you the same course that got me started This is a course I now own called Lease Purchase Wealth Manual. And this is a course that was written by a guy, a friend of mine, who did this in California, did this in San Diego. And I'm also going to give you 2 free books, Multiple Streams of Income and Wholesaling Lease Options. So while the course is being released weekly, you can go through an entire manual on how to do these deals, and you could read some really good books that will help you a lot. That's a $1,500 value. You're going to get all of that for free. Now you're like, all right, Joe, what if I need to borrow some money? What if I need some money to close a deal? I have a bonus called, it's called $500,000 in 30 days. Hold on one second. Where I'm going to show you how to get private money if you want. You don't have to, but sometimes you might need private money to close your deals. And sometimes you're going to need the cash. I'm going to show you how to get over $500,000 of private money in the next 30 days from a list of hungry investors begging to fund all your deals if you needed to. Okay. That's going to be free for you as well. Like, okay, you might be like, Joe, I want to ask you questions. That's great. For the first 5 that buy right now in the next hour, I'm going to give you a free one-on-one coaching call with me. But this is only, again, for the first 5. And just recently, I turned down somebody who offered me 50 grand for one-on-one coaching. I just don't do that. So only for the first 5, if you can schedule a one-on-one call with me if you want. Again, go to sjrei.org/Joe. This offer is going to be gone by the weekend. You can get it later on my website if you want for $1,497 more than what I'm offering you now. But only the first 10 are guaranteed to get all the bonuses. Only the first 5 get to schedule a one-on-one call with me. Again, go to sjrei.org/Joe to sign up. And this is a summary real quick of everything that we're going to get. It's an 8-week master class. I'm giving you a $14.97 discount. I sell it for $24.97 on my website for the next few days only. I'm going to give you this discount. You get a 6-month completion challenge. Go through the class. You don't even have to do a deal. Just go through the class and implement it anytime in the next 6 months, and I'll give you your money back. Again, why do I do that? I want testimonials. I look at it as an investment in you. My philosophy is real simple. If I can't make you money, then I don't deserve yours. And then finally, I'm hoping some of you bring me deals. I know if you go through the class and start implementing it, you're going to start doing deals. Maybe you can partner with me on some of them, okay? I'm giving you my free automated offer pro software. I'm giving you 30 days of Freedom Soft for free. It's like a business in a box. And I'm going to give you the Virtual Assistant Resource Center. These are pre-trained VAs. If you want to hire them, they're $6 or $7 an hour. If you want, we're going to give you 10 free hours. Or if you already have VAs, or if you want to find your own VAs, we will train your virtual assistants for you. We have like what we call a Virtual Assistant Resource Center. I'm giving you free coaching support. You're going to get access to Joe's Inner Circle. I do weekly calls. We do weekly onboarding calls, weekly group coaching calls. You can ask your questions in advance. If you can't be on the call, you can submit your question in advance and I answer them. We have a private Facebook group. You can partner with me on deals. I'm going to review your offers to help you stay out of bad deals. You don't have to partner with me if you don't want. We're giving you free seller leads from Zillow. I'm giving you fast start bonus courses. You don't have to wait until all the modules are released. I'm going to give you a free course on how to raise $500,000 in 30 days. And I'm going to give you, if you're one of the first 5, a free one-on-one call with me. Okay. All for $997 or 2 payments of $597. Again, go to sjrei.org/Joe. Okay. sjrei.org/Joe. Now, at this point, you've watched this entire presentation. You've seen that it's possible to create a simple lease options business that can increase your cash flow and decrease your overwhelm. And it's clear that Simple Lease Options will show you exactly how to create your business to do the same thing. So I'd like to invite you one last time to participate in this priceless masterclass so you can start doing very simple lease option deals and change your life in the process. See, guys, doing one simple lease option deal can change your life forever. And you just may never have to worry about money again. So I've made sure that this is a completely safe decision for you to make without any risk whatsoever. Again, go to sjrei.org/Joe. This special offer will be gone by the end of the weekend. Again, I sell it on my website for $24.97. At my normal webinar, I sell it for $1,500. You're going to get it for $997. So I want to thank you guys for being on the webinar today. Remember, I said, if you stick around to the end, you're going to get my book. Normally it's on my order page, but we had problems with that. So I'm going to email you guys a link. If you stay to the end, I'm going to email you a link to get the book. Okay. I'm looking forward to helping you guys do many, many deals, Let me just review this one more time. It's an 8-week masterclass. I'm giving you a $1,500 discount. I'm giving you all of your money back if you, in 6 months, you just go through the class and complete it. I'm going to give you the $997 back. You get my free automated offer pro software. You get 30 days of Freedom Soft, the Joe McCall Signature Edition for free. It's like a business in a box. You're going to get Virtual Assistant Resource Center. If you want to hire VAs that are already trained in Freedom Soft, you can do that. If you want to find your own VAs or you already have one, we will train them for you. We're going to give you free coaching support. You get weekly coaching calls, onboarding calls, a private Facebook group. You get to partner with me on deals if you want. We'll review your offers. You can stay out of bad deals. And I'm going to give you free seller leads. I'm going to give you a fast start bonus courses where you can actually start going through the entire course in a manual. So you don't have to wait until all the modules are released. I'm going to give you a free class on how to raise 500 grand in 30 days. And I'm going to give you, if you're one of the first 5, a one-on-one call with me that you can ask me any question you want. So again, go to sjrei.org/Joe, sjrei.org/Joe. All right. That's all I have, guys. It's just $997 or 2 payments of $597. I'm looking at your questions here. Freedom Soft is $197 a month. And we will send you a link probably tomorrow morning for the book. Okay. And yeah, I think that's it. Somebody's asking what virtual assistant service am I using? We use a company out of Florida, and they have a special agreement with us where they'll give you 10 free hours, and they've been trained on my systems. How much time do we need to put into this each week? Chris, it just depends. It depends on how many deals you want to do. I tell everybody, you should treat this like a business, not a hobby. So if you want to do, you'll do more deals if you can put more time into it. So I've always recommended, you want to try to do 2 to 3, 4 hours a day. That's going to give you enough time to do a little bit of marketing, talk to some sellers, make some offers. Nick is saying, I have, cool. Nick's been through the Z code. You use this for raw land. Okay. Somebody says they spent 6 months in Georgia calling dozens and dozens of people, sending hundreds of texts and voicemails. Got maybe 4 to 5 people who entertained the lease option. 0 contracts. I'm curious, whoever said this, how many offers did you make? And how much follow-up did you do? On average, we do a deal for every 25 to 30 offers that we make. But we also follow up on average for every deal that we do 5 to 7 times. So 5 to 7 times of follow-up over a period on average of 3 to 5 months. We looked at our deals. We did 58 deals in 1 year. And we looked back, of those 58 deals, only 4 came from that first contact with the seller. So if we would not have done any follow-up, we would have only done 4 deals that year. But 54 deals came from follow-up. On average, 5 or 6 touches over 3 to 5 months. So, that's awesome that you were calling dozens and dozens and you sent hundreds of texts and voicemails. But it looks like you said here you only made 4 to 5 offers. Well, and it doesn't sound like you did any follow-up. I'm not surprised you didn't get any deals. It's just kind of the way it is. So you got to do follow-up. All right. Those are all the questions I see. I think we're done. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you, Joe.
Appreciate it very much.
So I've got the link in the, let me post it again. So this offer expires, I think we're going to set that for Saturday midnight. I think that's what it was, right?
Yeah, it's set for, yes, Saturday midnight.
I think I have to look in Infusionsoft and see how it works. But yeah.
All right.
All right, guys.
So, thank you. Wonderful
Joe.
information. I look forward to putting it into play.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Take care, everybody.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Joe.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.